Okay, so we'll be starting off in a bit. Um, Let me add my video and we can start off. Okay, so 1 second. New technology and all. um, so 1 sec. Okay, okay. So let me just put this here. Okay, okay. I believe we can start off. Welcome everyone. So we're going to be talking briefly about pests and disease management. So we'll be starting off. Right. So welcome once again. My name is Omona. I will just be talking about pest and disease management for today. Just a brief introduction I intend on um, doing it for our farms, BU and agricultural enthusiast, a farming professional, but really what we want to cover is pest and disease management. All right, so a brief introduction about me. My name is Omona Daye. I am from Nigeria, specifically the southern part of Nigeria. So Nigeria is in West Africa. Well, West Africa is in Africa. Um, and we're bordered by countries like Chad, in company, basically where I just help, streamline processes and, improve efficiency. Okay, so just a brief introduction about my journey so far. Yes, food onto my journey at Nigerian University of Technology, where we had a design thinking class, and the problem we focused on was agricultural, and it's really made us zone into how can we reduce and improve post harvest loss. And basically, what we thought of doing was just educating and bringing farmers the right practices, the right procedures, kind of like the ones we will be learning today. Um, but aside that, why I solely believe in whatever solution or whatever implementation is that community is a key thing. Hence, why we're currently, building the farming circle to just make sure, um, as these learnings come out, as they are documented, they are easily dispensed, not just within Nigeria, but like all over Africa. Right, we're just really going to cover six main things. If there are any questions in the chat, we can always go back and answer or will answer them. But first off, we'll just be talking about understanding pests and diseases, identifying common pests and diseases. Um, then we'll move on to integrated pest management, then prevention, monitoring, and control techniques. And then lastly, we'll just cover high level different case studies from Africa and Asia. Right. So and diseases. So just on top of a pest is any organism that can damage or interfere with the crop, the growth of your crop. So anything that eats at the leaves, stems, roots, anything that stops the growth of your crop is a pest, right? So I think that's just like a forward, simple, straightforward definition of what a pest would be. Um, so disease are any any abnormal conditions from the normal growth caused by pathogens. So you have fungal thing, or the first thing they usually affect are crop yields and qualities. So plants at the the baby stages, and you are attacked by pests or diseases, you would see over time either your plants die, or the yield at the ending of your harvest is just not quality. Again, it also affects the quality of the crops um, that you deliver from your farm. Now, as I mentioned earlier, everybody wants to make money from their farms. Farmers are superheroes, specific crops, specific diseases and pests that just drastically yield, and sometimes it might even become a national or even regional disaster. All right. So just a quick way to identify common pests, right? So I'll just high level. Right. So first off, let's use an example of a rice stem borer. What you would see stems, so they are boring pests, right? Um, then some might just introduce drying of plants, stunted growth, yellowing instead of where it's supposed to be green. Um, some other pests would introduce leaf damage, holes, then they would bore through your leaves to form like. So the first way we'll be talking about is integrated pest management, right? So basically, these are just sustainable approaches that we use to manage pests by combining firstly biological, cultural, physical, and chemical tools. Basically, in a way that would minimize economic, health, and environmental risks. Right. So basically, IPM for short emphasizes on prevention, monitoring, and control of pests. Right. So just the high level components. So prevention, basically, these are just strategies that you would set off beforehand, maybe before a farming season, before you start buying seeds, that will combat your pest problem. Monitoring is a high level, let's say, design data focused to where you observe, collect data, and identify pest levels, then come up with strategies as you improve the situation. So control focuses on applying control measures when these pests have come up to reduce the pest population and also at a threshold. So first off, we'll just be talking about prevention techniques. So first we'll talk about cultural practices. So for cultural practices, region per people also, because culture is centered around people. Um, and but these are just high level common practices that people practice irrespective of where they are. So first off, crop rotation. So for crop rotation, we have just basically taking, so specific pests attack specific um, crops, right? So for crop rotation, basically, in a way, you're just confusing the pests. So if you plant rice for the first season, you can plant a total, different legume that would have different pests that attack that legume. So in that way, whatever pests you have in and around your your farm will not be able to attack the second crop you plant in your second season. Spread onto your um, farm. So a great way is planting resistant varieties. So looking at, possibly you've monitored your farm, you've gathered a lot of data to know what pests are in and around your area. You look for seeds that are specifically resistant to certain pests and diseases. There are different, for example, there are like different resistant rice varieties for blast disease. There's biological controls. This is just taking natural predators. So um, So you could use ladybugs to control your aphid populations. Basically, just using natural predators to uh, prey on your pests that attack your certain crops. So there are certain insects you could also introduce to your um, farm as a way predator-prey relationship. So using like a trichogoma wasp to control caterpillars. But there are also physical controls. These are, I think, the most common ones. So setting up scarecrows, setting up using like pheromone traps for moths, um, just a trap to capture and monitor pest population. Physical barriers are also a great way. So using netting to cover from birds, just using a physical barrier to make sure that your farm is protected um, around around your planting season. All right. So now we'll just move on to monitoring techniques. As you said earlier, monitoring is just focusing on data collection and using that data to improve the outcomes of your farm with respect to pests. So also for this, pheromone traps are great because they'll be able to give you a high level understanding of how much moths or insects or pests that are around your farm. And you can calculate that between a specific time period, and that way you'll be able to have a marginal data to work with in terms of monitoring your pest. Sticky traps also work. Yellow stick traps are great for this. So there are other methods you could use for monitoring pests. So regular field inspections, make sure you have a routine where you mark per date, per time, and monitor the pest levels as you go through your fields, as you go through your farms. Weekly inspections are generally encouraged to, make sure you're tracking the rates and increase of this pest through your, paddies and farms and all that. All right, so it's very important to also record your observations because using a logbook or a digital app nowadays, you can also improve your outcomes by using an automated method. So you could, you could, you could basically just automate. So you could introduce sensors into your farm, then those sensors pick up signals and record it um, over time for you. And you could also transmit those signals like so an important part of monitoring is data analysis. So taking all that, capturing that data is one bit, but you need to now take that data, identify the trends, then make an informed decision. So taking a trend of your data from, say, beginning to mid planting season, you'll be able to an extent, um, pick a trend that was right. So that way you'll be able to know how to make an informed decision in your second half of your planting season, or um, or apologies, or as you move on to the second part of your planting season. So just taking all that information and recognizing the trends, recognizing the patterns, and moving on to the next planting season by making informed decisions, right? Now we have AI tools, we have a lot of tools that can make some level of predict understanding that